Third grade, welcome to lesson 104. Our lesson today is about sorting geometric shapes. And I have a video I want you to watch. Let me share my screen.
Which shape matches all three clues? So here we have three clues, and we want to see which shape down below matches all three of these statements. So let's start with the first clue. The first clue says the shape is a quadrilateral, quad meaning four-sided. So looking down here at our shapes, let's see which ones match that first clue. Shape 1 has 1, 2, 3, 4 sides, so it is a quadrilateral. Shape 2 has 1, 2, 3, 4 sides, so also a quadrilateral. Shape 3 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides, so it is not a quadrilateral. It's a six-sided shape or a hexagon, so we can rule that one out. It doesn't match clue 1, so there's no way it can match all three clues. And finally, shape 4 has 1, 2, 3, 4 sides again, so it is also a quadrilateral. So after clue 1, we still have three possible answers. This first shape, the second shape, and the fourth shape all match clue 1. They are all quadrilaterals. Looking at clue 2, it says our shape has no right angles. Right angles are also 90-degree angles. Right angles are 90-degree angles, and they look something like this. And we often see them marked with a square in the middle because they're sort of like square angles. We can create a square from the opening that they form, that these angles form. So this is a right angle. Looking now down at our shapes, we can see right away on shape 1 has two right angles. There's a square corner and another square corner. So this has right angles, but the shape we're looking for has no right angles, so we can rule this shape out. Shape 2 does not have any right angles. These are not squared off corners. And same with shape 4, no right angles, so both of those still match both clues 1 and 2. So we have two shapes left. They're both quadrilaterals, and they have no right angles. And finally, our last clue, the shape has 4 sides. We knew that because it was a quadrilateral. And those sides are of equal length. That means each of the sides is the same length. Looking at this first one that we have left, shape 2, it looks like these sides on the ends are shorter than the sides going up and down. So it looks like they are not equal length, so we can rule this one out. But let's be sure this last one works. Here, the sides all look like they're the same length, but the way we can know for sure that they are is these tick marks. Anytime you have these marks, it's saying that any side that has the same amount of marks is the same length. All 4 of these sides have exactly 1 tick mark, so they are all equal in length. So shape 4 matches all 3 clues. It is a quadrilateral. There are no right angles, and it has 4 sides of equal length. So shape 4 is our answer.
All right, let's look at this one.
Thanks for joining me today. I'm sure by now you already know your shapes. You already know the square and the circle and the triangle and the rectangle. But what you may not know is that shapes have special attributes. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So there's 2 different kinds of attributes. There's a defining attribute, and those are attributes that matter, and non-defining attributes, and those are attributes that don't matter. I know it sounds a little bit confusing, but we're going to make it a little bit easier to understand. First thing to understand is that attributes are characteristics or traits. So we're going to look at characteristics and traits of a shape. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at is defining attributes. Now, like I said, these are attributes that do matter. Shapes have to have these characteristics or traits in order to be called a shape. So the first one we're going to look at is closed, okay? A shape must be closed. If it's open like this one, then it's not considered a shape. So a defining attribute is that the shape is closed. This matters, okay? So it's a defining attribute. The next defining attribute are the number of sides. The number of sides matter. This is how you know that it's a square or a triangle or a rectangle. So the number of sides matter in being able to be called a shape. So the number of sides is also a defining attribute. And the next defining attribute are the number of corners. Like the number of sides, it matters. In order to decide whether or not it's a shape, it depends on the number of corners. Again, the number of corners helps us tell whether it's a triangle or a square or a rectangle. So corners is another defining attribute. And those are the three defining attributes. It has to be closed, it needs to have sides, and it needs to have corners. Those are defining attributes. Those are attributes that matter in order for it to be called a shape. Okay, so now let's look at non-defining attributes. Attributes that don't matter. It doesn't matter if it has this attribute or not, it's still considered a shape. And so here's where it makes it a little bit easier to understand. If you think about this, the first non-defining attribute is color. Now, you've seen shapes or you've seen circles that are green, blue, purple, here, orange, and purple. It doesn't matter, they're both called a circle regardless of their color. So, but again, it is a characteristic, it is a trait. So color is an attribute that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what color the shape is, it is still that shape. So it is a non-defining attribute. Okay. The next non-defining attribute is size. Now think about this. If you've seen a square, a small square and a big square, it's still a square. It doesn't matter what size the shape is, it is still a shape. So size is another non-defining attribute. It doesn't matter what size it is, it's still that shape. Okay, and the third non-defining attribute is orientation. Now, orientation kind of means location or the direction that it's turned. So if you look at the orientation, a lot of people get confused here. They think that a triangle is only a triangle if it's turned this way. But if I turn the triangle upside down, it's still a triangle. If I turn it this way, this way, this way, this way, even like the square, it doesn't matter which way I turn it, it's still that shape. So orientation of a shape does not matter. It is still a shape. Okay, so non-defining attributes are attributes that don't matter. And the three non-defining attributes of a shape are color, size, and orientation. Okay, so now I'm going to check for understanding. I want to see if you can tell me whether it is a defining or a non-defining attribute. So the number of sides. The number of sides, is that a defining or a non-defining attribute? Okay, the number of sides does matter, so it is a defining attribute. Okay, here's the next one. Color. Does the color of the shape matter? Does the color of the shape matter? Is it a defining or a non-defining attribute? All right, I hope you got this. No, the color does not matter, so it is a non-defining attribute. All right, here's the next one. Closed. Does it matter if the shape is closed? Is this a defining or a non-defining attribute? Okay, it does matter. The shape has to be closed in order to be called a shape. So it is a defining attribute. All right, the next one is size. Does the size matter? Is this a defining or a non-defining attribute? The size does not matter, so it is a non-defining attribute. It can be any size, still a shape. Here's the next one. Orientation. Does the orientation or the direction of a shape matter? Is that a defining or a non-defining attribute? The orientation of a shape does not matter, so it is a non-defining attribute. Okay, and the last one, which I think you've already figured out without me even saying anything, but corners. Does the number of corners matter? Is it a defining or a non-defining attribute? It is a defining attribute. It does matter. So this is our chart on defining and non-defining attributes. I have this packet available on my Teachers Pay Teachers store if you're interested in it, but if not, you just want to watch the video again to help you further understand, or if you think you got it, good job with that. Thanks for watching. Until next time. Bye.
We get it. You don't really want your kids watching videos, but it can have certain advantages. But what if you're...
All right, let's go ahead and pull out our math lesson. Lesson 104, pages 556 to 558. I think you won't have a lot of trouble with these. I am going to say pay attention to words like expanded form or estimate or let's see what else, compatible numbers. We don't have any long division today, so there won't be anything for us to write up in that top corner. Number 11, I want you to be careful. They want you to tell whether it's more likely, equally likely, or less likely. You need to use that term, and then you need to explain how you know. So there are two answers on number 11. You can see we have that written out for you, third grade. Number 12, you're going to remember that an ordinary calendar year is 365 days. And you're going to find out how many days would be in 4 years. And then there's another thing you need to do. So read number 12 super carefully. Number 13 has parentheses. Remember, do a parentheses first. Number 16 needs a label. Don't forget it. Number 19, they're saying use compatible numbers. So $2.56 would be compatible to what number? Think about that. Remember, compatible numbers are the 25s. 25, 50, 75, 100. All right, and then 18 won't be a problem, but please, or excuse me, 19 won't be a problem, but please make sure you work it out. Okay, oops. Work it out, all right? All right, you will do a great job, I know. Now tomorrow, we are going to skip lesson 105. So tomorrow will be a test day. Remember to follow your directions and do exactly what we ask you to do for your test. Goodbye, third grade.